Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it might be for you. Welcome once again to the SharinGANG podcast with me, PT64.
Myself, that guy.
And me, Clockwork Nerd.
And on this episode, we are revisiting the Land of Waves arc from Naruto. What are you saying, boys?
Right.
I am excited, far more excited now than I thought I would have been before watching it, because just so much came back to me.
Yeah, all that nostalgia, straight flooding back, all the goodness.
Yeah, we spoke about this beforehand, how it's one of the things that you watch thinking, maybe it was that epic because I was younger and I was more susceptible to it. No. And if you were, you're straight back in that mindset again the second you start watching it. So
Yeah, definitely.
It all comes back around.
It's so good.
Yeah, I think like the idea to watch it came up on a previous podcast we did where it mentions almost forgotten arcs of anime that just don't deserve to be forgotten but almost get overshadowed.
Yeah.
And this, rewatching it again, definitely has been overshadowed by the absolute grandeur that is Naruto in its entirety, or Shippuden rather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's something that the earlier arcs are so easily forgotten in comparison to the hype that were the later Shippuden arcs. Like you know, people 9 times out of 10, you think Naruto, it's immediately Shippuden at least that comes to your mind, followed by those later arcs. You think of the Great Ninja War and whatnot, the Fourth Ninja War, but then you actually go back to some of these earlier arcs, and they're so good. And what I find funny as well is the comparison in quality of animation at such a novice level, if you will, of like the team at the time, Team 7, like they're, you know what I mean? How novice they are at the time, and the animation of these fights that they're having that's so amazing. And then you get later on to some of the fights with these epic characters, and it's just like, why is he made of clay?
I know which fights you're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
The
some
animation
Oh.
is something that
it's just like they gave up.
I think before we get onto it though, because it sort of refers to the back end of it, to be fair. Who wants to sort of summarize what happened in this arc before we weeb all over it?
Clockwork, hit us up.
Me?
You.
You want a summary from me? Okay. Land of Waves was, well, it's not essentially, it is Team 7's like first proper mission, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was the one that Naruto begged and begged for, and they got. What was the bridge builder's name? What's his
Don't
name?
look at me for names.
I know. I'm looking at PT's name right now.
I know.
What's his name?
It's Tazuna.
Tazuna.
Yeah, Tazuna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So escorting and protecting Tazuna, the bridge builder, back to his home in the Land of Waves, and then protecting him whilst he builds the ridiculously oversized bridge. I will say this now. Do you guys remember the size of that bridge when it was finished?
The Naruto Great Bridge.
The Great Naruto Bridge. Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
It's insane how big that bridge is. Like, just like to say.
Absolutely massive. And then I swear later on in Shippuden, they can basically fucking stick the hand over the brow and see to the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, incredibly inconsistent.
Sure, it shrinks. I'm sure it shrinks, that bad boy.
I just had to point the bridge out.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it involves a lot of firsts for Team 7. And a lot of first epic moments for a couple of characters.
Yeah.
It was the first time we learnt about the village hidden in the mist as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's the
properly
first.
heard anything.
It's the first that you
substantial.
get a proper insight into, like a little sneak peek into the village hidden in the mist, because obviously it's the bloody mist, isn't it? And you start
it's
getting
Blood Mist Village,
the backstory, especially obviously when it goes into when, of course, Zabuza does turn up, and you learn about how they ascend, if you will, in the fact that they basically have to annihilate everybody.
But you think about
So,
it,
yeah,
that's a really...
Zabuza, he's the
It was one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
on this one, yeah.
Yeah, he's
One
the
of the things that
antagonist for
isn't,
the arc.
He is the antagonist, yeah.
he wasn't, the whole 7 swordsmen wasn't really expanded on as much as I would have liked. You know, being a fan of the old bladed instruments as I am. In the whole of Naruto, but that's just one of the romances of it, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that notion. I do. Like, I know exactly what you're saying. I like when something is mentioned, it's hinted at, it gets you, it gets you wet for it, and then nothing happens.
Nothing ever happens.
And you're left to be like, oh, but it sounds so good. But at the same time, as much as I like that, I hate it.
Yeah.
You can't put something that badass down. You can't lay that down. You can't start dropping these sweet names down and then going psych.
It's one of those things that I like to sort of label as sort of taking the sauce off the beans, though. Like, what if they did do it? Like, we got some nice beans right there. They are right. We could put some sauce on there, but
we
you don't know. You know what I mean? So is that
maybe the beans would be better without the sauce?
Yeah, maybe.
I think in this instance the sauce was needed. I think we should have had the sauce.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Zabuza was brought in to stop him from getting the bridge builder home.
Yes, hired by Gato.
Thank you, that's the name.
Yeah, hired by Gato to obviously stop the bridge being built so that he can carry on swindling the land of waves. Basically.
That capitalism.
Good old capitalism.
All day long, right? Even in the ninja world, it knows no bounds.
He's got a suit on, hasn't he?
He does wear a suit. Yes. He's one of the few people that just wears a suit in the entire series ever.
He's the most Western-looking character.
Yeah,
in Naruto.
absolutely. I'm just about to say, it's like he's from the fucking future. I'll be honest.
It almost threw me off because it's like it was the first sort of adventure outside of the Hidden Leaf Village.
Yeah,
and then everything's pretty ninja inside the Hidden Leaf Village. Yeah. And then outside there's a guy with a suit. You're like,
and all the rest of the villagers, they're all like pretty much dressed like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing that I get from when you watch Dragon Ball, and then suddenly someone just pops up in like a shirt and shorts. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, what? Like, everybody's been wearing this like combat gear, or like someone will pop up just in like some t-shirt and jeans.
Oh, so when the androids turn up in their jeans, and you're like, what?
I was just about to say it. Just like, wait, what? Where's the maneuverability there? I don't care. She's a robot. They are some expensive jeans, but we digress.
Yes.
As we do. Yeah, Zabuza. Like Zabuza, it's one of my favorite characters. One of like my personal favorites in the whole of, even including Shippuden, like of the whole of Naruto.
Really?
Yeah, big giant sword. I mean, he just ticks so many of my sort of
your weeby boxes.
Yeah, like giant sword. Like, it's just got a piss poor attitude. Any sort of image, like that image of him sat down. Do you remember that? I bring up quite a lot. There's always that one character that's got that what you labeled as presence. Like, every time I think Zabuza, I just think of that the shot of him where he's just sat
with the knee up, with the wrist on the knee, that kind of thing, and he's like sword on the shoulder. Yeah,
that guy is just I'm all about that sort of style.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm not saying there isn't more stylish or more, badass characters in Naruto, but bear in mind, I was a lot younger. I was just getting into this, and then this character just hit me straight off the bat. That later on is just taken out like at the beginning. I'm like, oh wow, so you must have more badass for me if you're getting rid of him already. So
yeah, I mean, I liked the fan service bringing him back later, but like him and Haku. But at the same time, I liked it for the fan service. It was awesome to see him, but it was I think the second oh, no way, it's Zabuza and Haku faded, I was like, oh, it's Zabuza and Haku. They had such a good end. Why have you pulled them back up and ruined that fucking tear-jerking moment? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of that arc, like, what is going on?
End for both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, like you say, is the first like antagonist, like proper antagonist that like pops up. And let's not forget, while we're getting the first tickle into the Hidden Mist Village, you know, learning about the 7 Ninja Swordsmen, Zabuza himself, we get the first proper Kakashi outing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first time Kakashi just goes off.
Yeah, like the first. I swear that's the first time he pulls that headband up.
It is.
Yeah.
And the Sharingan goes bling, and he starts. Yeah, like that's you know, and that I'll never forget.
It reminded me of Sasuke's suspicion and everything as well. Like when he
kicked it. Oh, and remembering the wonderment of my theorizing that he could be a surviving Uchiha member, but he changed his name. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh my god, I remember like you're like that wonderment, and then obviously you know you learn the truth, but
it's got that cool guy Uchiha attitude as well. Like it just fit. You know, but no, I was going to say earlier, this was the first sort of proper explanation of the ninja world.
Yeah.
If I remember when they went out, it was just the first for so many things.
It was the land of firsts.
Yeah,
it was.
It's when it truly began, really, isn't it? Like Naruto begins when they set off for the Land of Waves. Like it really does. Forget your diarrhea.
Forgot about diarrhea.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Forget, you know. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that guy. Go on.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, your sexy jutsus and stuff. Like, none of that came up. You know what I mean? It just completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
It's I called it Haku's arc. Remember when we first decided to look back at it? I was Haku's arc.
Yeah.
But now I've watched it, I don't think I could ever look back at it from any point in the future and refer to it as Haku's arc again. I don't, cause even when we played Ninja Storm, I was like, oh yeah, Haku, before Zabuza. But Zabuza was the standout there, but we haven't really spoken about Haku. Who wants to, because Haku's got a bit of backstory.
Oh yeah, Haku definitely does. Like obviously, you know, being a young lad from Kekkei Genkai wielding clan who were wiped out, weren't they?
Yeah, I would say this is also the first time we heard the term Kekkei Genkai.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that.
Just about to say, yet again is this is exactly why yet again I say the Land of Waves arc is where Naruto truly begins. Mm-hmm. This is where you start learning about the proper stuff that like separates you from the people who have no idea about Naruto. Do you know what I mean? Like truly, like this is the stuff that you learn that sticks with you. If you don't know that something like the Sharingan is a Kekkei Genkai, get out.
Get out of here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it became I was adamant actually first time I heard it. I'm like, this is gonna be like that, isn't it? I bet Naruto's gonna have one, and that's what this whole Naruto thing's going to be about. This is what just like quirks in My Hero.
Yeah,
like, back then also, you know, different animes have different sort of like, you know, things they go at.
They always got the catalyst.
It was something that even throughout the whole of Naruto, the Kekkei Genkai thing was just something that was just sort of dropped in. It wasn't milked.
Yeah, like Masashi really did an incredible job of literally just going, now they've been here the whole time. And you know that they have because you've seen them, but you don't know that you've seen them, but you have seen them. And then all this time later, he goes, oh, this is what this is. And then you start connecting the dots and you start thinking about people like Hinata, because obviously like Hinata, it makes her very obvious early on with fancying Naruto, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you think like, oh, her eyes. And you start like seeing these traits in different people and sort of thinking, ooh, you know,
could this be like what's Rock Lee and what's his? I can't wait to find out what his is. Like, nope,
it's absolutely nothing.
It just does the 1,000 push-ups a day. That's just it.
Yeah, and which just makes him so epic in his own way, and that's what I love about the like of all. The one thing I will say of all the anime, and I think this is what makes it like, you know, one of the many reasons that Naruto in general is my favorite of all time. The diversity in characters is incredible. And it's not diversity where it's like, what the fuck are these ideas straight out the bin? It's diversity where it's all, you know, where it's like each character has had so much time and thought put into them to make them stand out in their own way.
I mean, particularly Rock Lee. Thinking about it, I'm watching Air Gear, as I've said, and there's a character in that. It's about pretty much. It's very, very basically. It's about rollerblading, and there's one guy that just rides around on his head, and I'm like, in all animes,
That'd be Lee.
Guy sensei.
It's what I mean. There's always that one guy in most anime or manga. There's that one character that's just like the oddball that doesn't really contribute much to how badass or epic it is. They're just there for nothing other than comic value. I feel in Naruto that is Rock Lee and Guy, but they are also like they're not just add-ons. They're not just novelty. They are integral, but somehow they are also at the same time novelty. If you know what I mean, they're absolutely integral, but also throwaway. And it's odds actually. I might just be over analyzing Naruto now, but I've not come across another anime where there's that oddball character, but I wouldn't just dismiss them like I would in most others animes and mangas I've read or seen. I'd be like, oh, that character hit or miss. I'm not really bothered. But Rock Lee, even though he fits that checkbox for me, he has to stay in the anime just as much as the main characters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So integral. And I love that he deliberately made that kind of character so integral to the main storyline, and included him in a way that really just made him shine so fucking brightly, without a shadow of a doubt.
Even in the films, Rock's got some epic moments. And I know you haven't seen the movies, and one of the movies he does.
I have seen the Part 1 movies. I've got the majority of them. He was in the Legend of the Stone of Galel 1A Rock.
Yeah, they do the is it some sort of tweak on the Lotus?
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. Like they tend to do in the movies, and it's always like the special move with a slight tweak
that you'll never see again.
Yeah, so true. Like that, Ninja in the Land of Snow, like Rainbow Rasengan.
Oh, what?
First ever Naruto film, mate. First ever Naruto film. Incredible. The animation is fire. It's absolutely unbelievable. I've got it on DVD. I'll give you a lens.
Thank you.
But yeah, Haku. Go on, that guy. Tell us, Haku. More about Haku.
No, I was just wanted to comment on how I just realised it was no longer Haku's arc for me, even though Haku's such a deep character. But I was looking for someone to go into the backstory act, which he did, in fact, with him just being picked up. Why was he picked? What was all that about? I feel like I might have missed something there, actually.
Zabuza finds him, doesn't he?
It's just on the bridge, and there was just that long pausing, staring at it. Was just he just sees him and decides to pick him up now, because I know I
think it's like it's sort of a half pity, half I can make use of this kid situation, isn't it? I think he tries to make it seem more like it's I can make use of him and he can do my bidding. But I think, Zabuza's blatant, like, hiding heart is like, I'm going to look after him.
And you know what? Even watching it in dubs, which
painful, isn't it?
Is oh gosh,
which is what I did when I was younger. Which is what I did. So I remember it very well. That's how I remember it. The most. I'll be completely honest. Before I became the guy I am today, where it's purely
subs or not subs. Can't blame you. But even in the dubs, like Naruto's little rant at Zabuza, about like how could you?
Oh yeah,
like that.
That's powerful stuff. Like it is. Like the writing.
I realized how much softer I have gotten as I've got older watching that bit, because I can never remember being moved as much as I had by an anime that wasn't trying. I have been moved by anime that it's purely meant to move you emotionally, but that's not what I feel Naruto is about, and I never had been by Naruto at all until rewatching that there.
Then
maybe you should rewatch it all.
Rewatch Jiraiya going down, because you will be fetal, my friend. I tell you what, honestly, like I've always been soft. I always have. And there is never a time I've watched that arc where I am not in any way ashamed to admit there's never been a time where I've watched that arc, that bit at the end where it's like your words cut me deep, all that, and I've not shed a tear. Never. It's always got me. From the first time I watched it to the last time, like, it's always got me.
Can you stop reminding me about Jiraiya?
Yeah.
Stop it.
What was that?
Stop reminding me Jiraiya died. Just stop. I tried to forget he died, all right?
So bad.
I'd
Horrible.
stopped watching it by the point Jiraiya died. I mean, so obviously by the time I'd found out about it, I was ahead of people watching the anime. But then by the time they got to it in the anime, I was like, oh my God, Jiraiya. And like, yeah, I knew. But it's like, nah. Like, obviously I was upset Jiraiya had gone, but the way that it was going on about the moment, like it was a proper like Weeb fest. I'm like, it was a character death, a main character death. It wasn't like an epic moment. So I feel like I might need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I mean everything. I mean, pretty much everything you just said's wrong. So I definitely would suggest going back.
Again, it was one of those like, sort of heart-wrenching,
because
that in terms of like heart-wrenching likeness. But again, like I say, I was pretty like blind to that element of Naruto.
I was going to say, well, now
in general, to be fair.
Well, now the robot has received a heart. Go back, Bicentennial Man. Rewatch that. Rewatch that because when you've watched through, especially even reading it in the manga destroyed me. Like when you go through and it's that moment, it's the flashbacks to when like Jiraiya's talking to Minato and Kushina. And like, and he's just thinking about it, and it's like relating, and it's the Naruto's like the character of his book, and all this, all the connection, and how much like he loves him. He's like a granddad. It's like you have got to be a fucking. If you love Naruto, you've got to be a robot to not find Jiraiya going down at least a little bit sad. Seriously,
I can honestly say at that time anyway. While I was reading it, or until I finished reading, I wasn't as much of a fan of Naruto until after I finished reading it.
Remind me to never watch a sad film with you.
Oh no, I am. Yeah,
because you'll wonder what the fuck's wrong with me.
I am that guy that will start giggling. Like I am one of those. It's sort of like gets a sharp look from that from time to time, where I just screw my face up at a heart-wrenching moment. Like, that's too much theatrics for me.
Go back, man. Go back, seriously.
Yeah, I'm ready to. By the time I finished rewatching this, I was prepared to carry on. But then, as I was watching, I got like midway through the next episode, and I was like, wait a second, there's bound to be some filler now. Which brings me on to something actually, like the pattern of Naruto. Like you just get ready for something like
so what pattern?
It's
at least in Shippuden, I mean, it was controlled in part 1, but in Shippuden, it was literally like someone just grabbed a handful of paint and just fucking threw it at the wall.
I was like, I'm gonna have to find out what that site was. Anime filler list. That's what it was. I was thinking.
Oh man, all day long I preach that bad boy. It's like my Bible. Do you know what I mean? Like I never watch an anime without it. Like seriously, I never watch an anime without it. I don't give a shit about what's going on in your filler. I don't care. Goodbye.
But Mecha Naruto.
Man, don't. I swear to God. I'm twitching.
I know.
Shall we watch it at one point? Actually, that was something you suggested, isn't it, Clockwork?
Let's do it. Let's tear Mecha Naruto down.
Mecha Naruto one time, baby. What do we make you do, mate? We make you play Brawlhalla and we make you watch Mecha Naruto.
Fucking maybe the worst things. Maybe the worst things. But I sacrifice my integrity for you boys, so it's all good. But
what
back to
the pattern thing as well. Yeah, sorry, the pattern of getting into it and whatnot. One thing I remembered as well on the last episode, the animation quality spike. Like, and it's at the end of every sort of arc, if I remember correctly, in the early days, the animation quality would just jump up for an episode or two as it wrapped up that whole arc. And the bit where Zabuza, which is the standout point for me of the whole thing, is Zabuza running through with no arms.
No arms.
And he's just got.
Oh man, when he's got the kunai in his mouth.
I have seen that exact thing try to be ripped off in so many sort of like Japanese cinema and Chinese sort of like action martial arts movies. I'm like, nope, it's been done. You can't even live action with CGI and the rest of it. You can't be like just.
Zabuza's the original. Yeah. Fucking the original. Like mouth wielding.
I'm like, wait a second, how come if this is him now, the guys, sorry, Team 7, you should have got weighed in already. Like,
Oh yeah.
until he decides, right, I've had enough now, I'm just gonna go. But yeah, that's him running in. That was
thing is though,
a highlight of the whole thing for me.
He didn't expect Haku to take that fiery red punch, did he? That fucking falcon punch that he fucking received. I'm gonna say that still is just one of the tastiest highlights for me of that entire arc. That the first true, like, you know, testimony to how much Sasuke's friendship in quotes means to Naruto, and the fact that it's like when Sasuke goes down protecting him, he loses his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And he absolutely, like, that build up and the fact that, like, you know, he just shatters all them mirrors and just blasts him in the face, like, just annihilates him. It's just absolutely insane. Like, from the anime and manga perspective, that punch is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it does it if you like the Uzumaki bomb.
Oh yeah, because that's the first time he robs it out in it. Was that later on in it? That
like
I'm gonna say, is it not the preliminaries when he rips out the Uzumaki barrage?
No, I just mean the bomb. Like, you know, when you hold down circle on Ninja Storm without any jutsu, just that wind up one punch. Like, where he swings himself.
The one bomb. Yeah.
It's like whenever you see that, like later in the anime and in other animes as well, it's just that, I don't know, I call it the Bruce Lee effect. When I watch Bruce Lee films, I just get empowered. I'm like, I can feel his power surging through me. And whenever Naruto would do that bomb, just like same as with this Haku moment as well, against Haku. It's that, you know, even though I was expecting it as well, it still got me, like, tensing up, like...
Oh man, yeah, like, even though you know it's coming, it was the same for me, even though I knew it was coming. When you see them, like, red swirls start going, and he's, like, gritting his teeth, I start, like, grabbing Seti, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And he's, like, powering up, like, losing his mind. Oh, yeah, like, you feel, like, his rage in that moment. Because obviously, you know, you don't know. Obviously, you know, opinions change, at least for me later on. But, you know, you don't know how much of a bellend Sasuke is at that point.
No, he's just a bit of a dick, isn't he?
You care. Yeah. You care that he's gone down. do you know what I mean? You care that he's gone down. He was like everybody's fanboy's favourite, wasn't
he? Yeah.
You know, the second I laid eyes on, you know, the Nedge. That was it. Like, this I know, you know,
Sasuke, but not a dick.
Mate, well, more of a dick.
Say Ned was worse when you first meet him.
But when you're laying down the 8 trigram 64 palms, you can talk to me how you want. And it's just that, it's that true eye rivalry.
Yeah.
Kekkei Genkai rivalry. But no, I think for me, it really, you know, going back to the Land of Waves arc in general, it really is a phenomenal arc and such an amazing, like, launch pad for the rest of the series. Like, it really sets a bar for the rest of the series, and I'm so glad that right the way through it keeps a nice pace. Like, don't get me wrong, the tree training you know, it's like training sometimes, you know, unless you're training, you know, to change a Rasengan with Yamato and Kakashi Sensei, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not, do you know what I mean? Like, leave the training at the door. But
some useless content to highlight a useless character.
I'm going to say, to be fair to tree training, it's the one time Sakura did something better than Naruto and Sasuke. It's the only time she's ever done something better.
Yeah.
And it was walking up a fucking train.
And it didn't even make much use of her, like, whilst they were clearly still training and she wasn't, she was just sat at the table, just sat on the bridge,
filling her face.
I know, it's so true. I never got that. She's always sat there doing fuck all, and then she's going, why can't I catch up?
Even during the fight.
That is why I can't stand her. Like, if she was like I'm going to try better every time, it's, I'm not going to be useless again. No, you are. Just own it, okay? Just own it. You're B rank, okay? If you accept that, everything will be fine. But stop putting yourself on the same tier as these guys.
That was such a generous rank for Sakura.
I know.
B rank. That's generous.
She's a pretty solid healer by the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
So.
but...
The thing is, it's like, for me, I don't dislike Sakura as a character. Like, really, I don't. I don't dislike her as a character, but, you know, the whole, like, I can stand up with them, it's laughable.
Yeah.
Like, you know, of course you can't. It's ridiculous. And when I was watching anime for the first time, you know, on Shippuden, and she stands up with him, and she's like, finally, I can fight alongside the two of them. I laughed. So I was like, foolish. Fucking foolish. You must be joking. Even with, like, the art that you've learned from Tsunade, you can see what these two boys can do. You can see it.
It's
right?
not even ninja
One's
stuff
got
anymore.
a Demon Fox, one's a Jinchuriki, one's got Kekkei Genkai. What are you talking about?
Okay, wow, you can uproot a tree with your bare hands. Well done. But these guys would, like, you know, leave a crater where that tree was.
I was going to say.
What tree?
And yeah, you could punch the tree and Sasuke can look at it and burn it into infinity. So, I mean, you tell me. It's flames that could burn through concrete. What the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, crap. You couldn't even heal yourself quick enough for those burns, love.
Tell you what, honestly. The best thing she did throughout the entire series was stick her hand in Naruto's chest and fucking pump his heart.
Yeah.
And bring him back to life, and bring the VIP back in. Do you know what I mean? Back into the fight, because they knew that without him, the only reason half of them even stood the ground for as long as they did is because Naruto's generous fucking shield, multi-shield. I'd be like, nah, boys, all me.
I'll handle this. Don't worry.
And that's why I won't be on that side. Do you know what I mean? But that's an episode for another time.
Just had too much the center of the screen throughout for the type of character she was. You know what I mean? Like, she was just
get off my screen.
I was gonna say, like, I'm not saying she didn't have a place, but her place wasn't as in the forefront as much as it was.
Her place was at the back. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, with the other guys, you know, there was far more interesting characters to pick from.
It did unfortunately not give a great deal of. It didn't give a great deal of like gusto to the kunoichi, did it?
No,
you know what I mean? I mean, like, I think we all knew from very early on what we were in for when it came to the female ninja. As soon as part of their ninja training was flower arranging.
Yeah.
The second that was happening, don't want to get killed by this shuriken. Better put this fucking dandelion over here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. The second that was happening, that whole brutal Sakura Ino backstory, like that whole situation. The second that was happening, I was like, right, this is what we're contending with then. And the only like kunoichi up to that point who had earned a modicum of respect was Tamari.
Okay.
They're all so forgettable. I forgot about Ino.
Tamari was bad.
Then. Yeah, Tamari was actually, the weapon master.
Yeah, she battered, man. Like early on, like, you know what I mean? When obviously, like, way back in, Gaara's a Monster days. Yeah. You know, which obviously, again, we will cover in another episode, I'm sure, the Forest of Death.
Definitely.
But yeah, you know, going into that, and I bet you forget all about the Sound Ninja.
The Sound Ninja.
Oh, the ones that carried away Sasuke, innit?
Yeah.
Oh, the one that he bust them arms. I will let me tell. I'm getting. I'm grabbing my chair now, thinking about that double bust.
Yeah, man.
Well, like I said, we'll cover that. I'll save that excitement for another episode. But yeah, that's another phenomenal arc. But this is it. I mean, like I was saying, the definite. To cap off what I was saying, it's an unbelievable launch pad into the world of Naruto, and it really focuses so well on those characters and just really evolves them. And it's like the first time that you truly, I think, properly take Naruto seriously and start to actually appreciate him to his fullest extent.
Yeah.
Because there was that time early doors where you were really enjoying the program and you loved the lovable rascal, but you couldn't help but despise him because he was unbearable. Believe it, do you know what I mean? Like,
the whole start thing when he first, even though he bossed the Shadow Clone Jutsu for the first time, I'm like, I don't know if that moment made up for just how frustrating he's been so far.
And like I say, like he didn't.
This is it's the, as you should say, the start of what
he definitely. Yeah, like Masashi definitely didn't do himself any favors when it came to like just I think just like extending it that beginning for the sake of extending it. Like I agreed with like episode 1. I agree with like, you know, going up to it and like doing the exam and stuff. I get all that, I really do. Like as I was saying before, like when I mentioned it before, like, you know, I don't need that diarrhea episode. Like I don't need it. I don't need him trying to get a kiss off Sakura. Like I don't need that episode. And the thing is what makes me laugh is like it's right early on, like episode 3 or whatever, like 2 or 3, and it's even in the manga. Like it's legitimate canon, that diarrhea episode. Where he's drinking and where he does that pose with all the face makeup on.
Trying too hard to underpromise or undersell us so it's more impactful later on.
Oh man, it must be because obviously, you know, you get through that, and if you can, like, I kept having to say to the significant other, like, please, like, you know, if we start watching it, just please bear with, because I promise it picks up. Like, you know, again, like we're saying, the Land of Waves, you know, with the Forest of Death, the preliminaries and whatnot, you know, going into like the sand and sound invading and stuff. Just, you know, you forget about all this stuff when you're so wrapped up in Shippuden, and it just gets better and better. Like, all I'm gonna say, and we'll cover it in future, but just to tickle those taste buds for you listeners as well, is all I'm gonna say is when Sasuke turns up late to the show with that new outfit. Shitori, don't even get me started, right? Let's not even, right? And this is what I'm talking. It's these moments that you think about, and you immediately you go back, you remember that moment, you remember seeing it, and you remember being that age seeing it, and just how fucking excited you were when he turns up late with Kakashi. Like, it's these moments I'm talking about.
Doesn't he have his hand wrapped up in bandages as well?
It's like almost like that belt thing, isn't it? That like wraps up his arm.
I'm like, when you see bandages on things, I've always said this in anime, you see bandages on things, it's a trigger for me. I'm like, something sick is about to happen with that. Whatever it is, it's a sword, if it's a body part, if it's like even Ichigo, like when he bandages when he first busts the back, you know what I mean? Like, you just know something horrible is about to happen to whoever is standing in front of the guy with the bandages. And it was one of those moments with his Sasuke is like the only other person that's mastered what I call Goku's first turning Super Saiyan stare. That sort of slightly over the shoulder, looking at you with just as much pain as your house cat does. Like, oh, you're so cool, bro. You're so cool. I know you're only a child right now, but I don't give a fuck. You're so cool.
This is the thing. It's like you look at him and you can feel that power up. Do you know what I mean? You just know. You look at him and you know he's powered up. You know he's bringing something new to the party here. Do you know what I mean? He's got something new, and we're about to find out what it is.
When he first started leaking the SharinGAN through against Haku, I was like, it was rather than being shocked or empowered, like empowered as I normally would. It's like I felt proud.
Another first, isn't it?
I was proud. I was like, my little Sasuke first getting his SharinGAN raised. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh my god, what is about to go down? This guy's got red eyes, just like the other guy had. And the other guy was sick, but Sasuke's super cool. This is about to go nuts. But obviously, you know, it does.
And then you just see the one little cheek. And he's like, he's not got 3. It's just like, it's not quite as good. It's not quite as good, but he's still getting it. You know that he's got it. It's going to be fucking sweet.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely. First time.
First sort of tail beast mode. First Kakashi SharinGAN. First
Sasuke
SharinGAN. First Sakura Shine, I suppose. Like,
first and only.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, it was, and introduction to the ninja world on a grander scale. I had that whole sort of world introduction. Like so much going off. First time,
because it teaches you all about the nations and everything, doesn't it? Like, so it literally teaches you all about like, you know, all of them, the major nations.
The mission ranks. It explains a lot about the Naruto universe, but normally you sort of recognize, okay, it's world building time. Like, you know, then that's happening to you. I do anyway in anime. I know when it's just because they cram it in, I feel. But even though you think about it, this has been crammed in with all of the new stuff that they've given us. It doesn't feel like it. It could easily have been something that happened after everyth's already been explained to us.
One thing that you'll find with Bleach as well, Nerd, when you finally you know, like crack on with that, you'll see that they do that classic, like, I'm gonna teach you something about the world right now, but you have it in such a unique way.
Yes, you do.
Fair.
Don't you just, guy? Don't you just like you get it in such a unique way?
Yeah.
You will have already seen it. You will have already seen it. Come to think about
It
it,
just hasn't become a thing yet.
yeah.
Oh, don't tell me it's her little
But-
drawings. Oh,
It is.
damn it.
It is.
I love those
I was
drawings.
going to say Rukia's little drawings. Yeah, and
Amazing.
Ichigo, without fail, will always rip on them.
Just
Yeah.
tear them
Yeah.
down.
Always, and then
It's
get smacked
almost
for it.
like
But yeah,
I'm glad that's
a
the thing.
finger up to the manga and anime universe, isn't it? Really? Because I just started watching Death Note with my partner, and she pointed out that they seem to over-explain a lot of things. And I just said to you, I was like, "Well, that's just anime
That's what they
for
do.
you."
Yeah.
You know?
it's just anime. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, and I understand it because it's one of those things where
Tension
just because
building.
and I don't think it's just that though. Like, I really don't think it's just that, man. Like, you come to realize as you get older that there are people who exist who need that.
Well, yeah. Yeah, there
Like-
is.
I like to think it's just so
no,
it builds. It allows you to have more appreciation for whatever's going on.
Oh, and I think for us, we get that from it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The benefit is we do get that from it because that's how we are. Whereas other people need that hand holding all the way to the door to be able to go like, oh right, I see.
Yeah, well, there are people
I
that
understand
have
now.
read chapters of Naruto on my recommendation of getting into manga, and they've done it like left to right for a few chapters, and come back.
How do you go that far?
Yeah, come back. It just doesn't seem. It seems alright. It just doesn't seem to make sort of sense. It's like everything's backwards. I'm like, what do you mean everything's backwards? Like, what? And then they've read it backwards. I'm like, okay, I can't blame. I never, you know what I mean? They've always done comics. They never did
Commitment
before. They just, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe they're just trying really hard to please me. But
True commitment.
Yeah.
Like reading something in reverse.
I don't even know if they carried on after I told them the right way round. They might have not even gone back.
Oh,
I don't know if I would have.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I probably would have been like, oh, maybe I'll actually enjoy it this time.
Yeah.
If I, do you
That
know
would
what I
be
mean?
useful information.
Maybe I'll actually enjoy it this time.
Clockwork, what was your favorite moment then? Your highlight moment? If mine was Zabuza.
My favourite moment from Land of Waves will always be the Demon Wind Shuriken. Alright?
Of course.
Always be the
Yeah.
Demon Wind Shuriken.
Do you know what? It never came back up again, did it? That was the only time.
Standard.
That was the only
It
time.
does.
No, it does. I'm sure it does come up again. Yeah,
It's
no,
like
it
a
does
little
get used again.
nod to the
Sasuke's
Demon
moods,
Wind.
isn't it?
Yeah, they did. No, they did it in that clip we watched.
Yeah, they
when
did
you
it
guys
there as
came
well.
around mine. But that was a nod.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking
Boruto,
that was. I saw that. I'm like, oh my god, it's a nod back to that move. But if that was the only time they ever did it, and it got such a recognizable nod right at the end,
I'm gonna say
that's epicness. But I can't recall any other time I've seen it.
I'm sure they whip it out again. I'm sure they do.
that's why another reason why I was so hyped and so hyped again to show you guys is because in Boruto, like in the most unbelievable fashion, they recreate a move that was their first ever strategized tag team move ever. Like against Zabuza, their first ever tag team move that Naruto and Sasuke performed as a team, like on Team 7. Insane. And I do not blame you, Clockwork, at all for that being your
It's just
favourite.
such an amazing moment. That first time you see Naruto just appear behind Zabuza. Right?
With the animation on that
And then
spin.
you get it 3 more times from different angles. And it's just amazing. That's how you know it's amazing.
Replay thing. I'm a sucker for those replays.
Yeah, exactly. I know you are.
The Goku triple bomb.
I don't care.
Guys, make sure you go and hit that video up of us
Check it out on
reacting.
Facebook.
That's not on YouTube, is it? That's on the Facebook because YouTube wouldn't allow us to use a second of Naruto footage.
Of course.
Links
Guys,
to
make
Facebook
sure.
will be in the description here. Click there. It's in the videos there because Facebook aren't as
They don't care.
surprisingly.
A lot more lenient. Yeah, guys, make sure you go down, hit that link, check it out. Let us know what you think. Hit us up in the comments. And if you've seen those particular moments that react to, as I say, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you thought of them as well.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, have you given us your favorite moment? Yeah. I mean, you've given us many. What could easily be, but Have you got one?
Oh yeah, I did that with it'd have to be the Fox Punch.
Oh right,
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Falcon
yeah,
Punch.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that raw, just that raw rage moment
Yeah.
from him. Just powering up. I've always loved in the moment power up, which is a classic. It's probably why I love anime so much, because that is anime. Spur of the moment power up time.
Mm.
That's how anime and manga roll, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Well, I mean, like Dragon
and
Ball
the fact
Z.
that you get the reference and stuff, and then
Yeah.
suddenly, you finally get to see a tickle of what's living inside, and you see him just fucking destroy. And I loved it.
Dragon Ball Z sort of, it's quite an old one, but the Zenkai boost sort of takes. Obviously, at the time, there wasn't intentional. But we look back now, it seems like it's taking the mick out of it. You have to die or get beaten to near death, and then you're automatically stronger. It's just sort of like a very simplified version of what most other action anime follows now, really.
See, that's a funny thing. It's funny you should mention that, because I mentioned to you guys earlier, excuse me, a character called Metal Bat from One Punch Man.
Yeah, you said.
And he's exactly like that. Just a gnarly, strong dude who uses a steel baseball bat. And the more he gets, the crap kicked out of him, the gnarlier he becomes.
Amazing.
So he just gets tanned up, and then he just powers up. Like, it's just that classic thing, but I love it. I love those over-the-top fights. I love when someone, takes a hit and just gets blasted through buildings. It's just one of those things. I've grown up with, you know what I mean, like, as we all have with the anime, with the comics, being a huge comic lover, all that kind of stuff. Those super fights, I've always loved it.
I just like insane shows of power where you said like punches through buildings. Obviously, like Fist of the North Star comes through to me, but the very opening of that is a building falling on the guy, and he's just casually walking through it as he's falling through. And I'm like, there was no, you know what I mean? There wasn't too much hysteria around him or anything like that. It was just him one, but I was like,
just not even flinching, just
man.
walking through the falling rubble.
I don't think
just phenomenal.
Anything can portray like that, for me at least anyway, quite like anime can. And Naruto's punch there. Many of Naruto's punches, many of his one bombs are like that throughout. Definitely. I think
the famous Nutsuki on Gaara.
I was going to say, doesn't he? I'm sure there's one on Pain in Sage mode. Yeah, it's just a punch. Like, no, he's in Sage mode. He just punches him, like, and
he finally gets through and like smashes him in his face. Yeah, he does. That's something that you get about 4 angles on, even in the manga as well, I believe.
Like that. Those moments, like
boshes him, man. Yeah, he does.
Distorts him. Like
I would say that's when the animation starts to go a bit weird in that fight. Is that
just distorts him completely, mate.
Yeah, and it's just like, what's going on? Like,
trying too hard to the fight. It wasn't. If it was that sort of style, probably at any point before then, maybe it would have been a bit more acceptable. But I don't know. Did they get another team in to do that? Do you know what the cause of that particular fight was to be so strange?
I honestly don't, man. Like, a lot of people have said, and obviously I referenced it earlier in the Fourth Great Ninja War. Like, some of the animation during, the sequences in there were just bad. Yeah. Just bad. Just nothing more. Do you know what I mean? Nothing less. It's bad.
I know Dragon Ball Super gets different animators for different parts, for almost like not even the whole arcs, like different, like 3 or 4 episodes. I'll have the different animators on it.
I get it to a point,
but that was just way different, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so.
You can't be changing like the look of something. Do you know what I mean? You just can't. I think. Speaking of that, that is legitimately what has. Even though I was reading it some time ago, it has genuinely put me off reading Boruto because I hate the art style. The art style for the Boruto manga is just awful. I hate it. The characters look nothing like how they actually look, how we know and love them. How they are portrayed in everything. They look completely different. I've nothing against the artist or anything like that. Got mad respect for these people. I really have. It's nothing taken away from their skills or anything. It's just a particular choice of art style for the Boruto manga I really do not like at all.
Saying that, you've got quite far into Boruto. Does it?
I have in the anime, yeah.
So was there like anything near the start of that you felt was sort of similar.
I mean, it's been a while, man. It's been a long time since like the early days of Boruto, and it's best left forgotten.
Early Boruto's.
Starting off with exams and stuff as well. That's I got up to the exams, and when the new flipping Seiji people.
Oh man, yeah, honestly, that's nothing. Just to strap in for just fucking shite. Just strap in for just episode after episode of time wasted.
For a pie eating contest.
Yeah, man, yeah, you'll get there. Fuck me.
No.
Like the filler content is high and mighty. It really is difficult and it's a minefield to navigate. It's pretty much all or nothing. Even I will admit it's all or nothing at this point. Even I've just been watching. Because even on anime filler list, it's like fucking Zodiac. You know what I mean? Like picking out the actual canon from the apparently anime canon and the manga canon are separate things. So picking that out amongst the filler and the real stuff and the anime stuff, so it actually makes sense for watching it, and it's a nightmare.
Jeez.
So you basically, it's all or nothing.
And
so even even fucking PT is watching every episode, even parent and child.
Boruto has made PT
my daughter. My daughter wants a Kurama doll, and I'm not even going to show a Kurama. Like, I'm not going down that road again. I ranted to you both in a long message. I'm not getting caught up in that. I end up in therapy over that. I can't go there again. I can't go there again.
Oh gosh, good times. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to get into Boruto.
No, I dropped off Boruto early.
One thing I will say though, just a very, very final point on Boruto is, when you were saying earlier about seeing Sasuke getting that Sharingan coming in, and you were like, I'm so proud of him. I literally had that like proud dad moment when Sarada had her first Sharingan pop-in moment. I had that same, oh no way, I'm so proud of
What happened? What was the if it spoilers, Tommy?
I've watched this point. Don't worry. I've watched this much.
I don't mind then. Spoilers.
Yeah, go on, Clockwork. It's more recent for you, man. You'd be able to tell it in better, please.
It's been a while since I've watched Boruto. Actually, was it before she went looking for Sasuke, or was it when she went looking for Sasuke?
I think it is. I can't remember if it was that or if it was when they were. Oh, was it when? Was it during the whole when Sasuke gets like attacked?
I want to say that's when it was, but it might be before then.
And there were those guys that were claiming to. You're not bothered, are you?
No. I'm
I was gonna say, those guys who were claiming to be Uchiha.
Yeah, the guy with the little mini hymns. He's covered in Sharingan.
Yeah. Well, strap in, Clockwork. Strap in, son, because I've not seen mention of them since.
Oh, great. Good.
What? This is people with loads of Sharingans on them, and they've just been left.
Man, it's literally two. Yeah, like almost like they make it. Is it like a father and a son? Do they make?
Yeah, but he's actually like a clone, isn't he? More than he's got a bunch of them, and they're all creepy as fuck.
That's it. Yeah, like white, like super light, like Zetsu white face.
He was a Was he a Danzo experiment, or was he an Orochimaru experiment?
I think so. I believe he was. I believe he was an experiment, literally from white Zetsu, like made from white Zetsu, something like that. I'm sure.
But I want to say that's when she got it. But the summit in me.
I think it was fighting that.
Was before then. But I just can't. Boruto's so disjointed in my head that I can't get it straight. Trying to think of it.
You get some fantastic moments in Boruto, really you do, but then it's just absolutely drowned in Parent and Child Day. Do you know what I mean?
I'm gonna have to watch this Parent and Child Day. I'm gonna have to.
And let's go fishing. Let's go fishing together. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so much of that. Let's spend half the episode talking on top of a train. Like there's so much of that kind of stuff that it just gets muddled. And then when you finally get a decent arc, you're basically watching round 2 of the Sasuke retrieval. You know what I mean? Me, honestly, like it's insane. Like so stale. They had to basically fucking and then throw an extra bit of like fan service spice in from a later arc. But like an earlier arc, yeah, man, it's a mishmash. Do you know what I mean? It's one Boruto arc that basically gives you the same as 2 different ones from Naruto Part 1. You know what I mean? You get the Gamma Bunta summon, and you get it's not Gamabunta. I'll just say that. I will just say that. But you get the gnarly big creature summon thrown in. Here you go, Boruto. You're a boy. And you get the Sasuke retrieval arc round 2.
Oh, jeez. Maybe one day.
And it was a good arc. And going back to answering your original question, which I did forget I haven't anymore, is the animation in a lot of these fights is bang on.
Right.
It's good.
That makes it more annoying, though.
Yeah, I know that. I could say that makes it more of a problem for me because
Yeah.
I don't mind some good animation. Just.
But the good thing is,
by itself.
just like that other fight, I will more than happily, whenever I find a banger, I will absolutely be like, check this out. And I'll show you the specific fight. I mean, I've still got that whole back in time arc to go. I've still not even got there yet.
I heard about you told me about this arc.
I'm ahead of obviously I'm ahead of you, Clockwork, in Boruto. I mean, I'm episode 100 and something.
I'm only 30
or like in the teens.
30
yeah, exactly. But I mean, they're still going on 200 now. It's over 150 for sure.
Jesus,
I'm sure it's
I didn't even realise it.
I'm sure it's like 180 odd episodes or something now. Yeah, I'm still definitely behind.
It seems like that little brother that just never. I don't know if you've got little siblings, but
I am
when
the
you're
little sibling.
No.
You always see your little sibling at that same age, just 7 years old, for the rest of their life. When you think of them in my mind, so I got lots of little brothers and sisters, but every time I think of each of them, even though they're varying ages, they're all just still 7 years old, and I think that's what like Boruto's just gonna always be. It's just like you're not quite there, and even if you get there, I'm not gonna think that you are by now because of the experience I've had of it today, and what I've heard back from the community and yourself, PT.
Yeah, I mean, he does look like later on in Boruto he is going to be
that glimpse right at the start of the anime where they show you Boruto later on, like sort of Shippuden age.
Yeah.
I want that Boruto now.
Yeah, well, he's got all the thing on his face.
And he's got the special eye and the markings that he gets on down his arm, and he's got that sword, and he's looking absolute beast.
It's like, that's already been planned. Like, can you see how it's going to get there from where you've got up to? No. So it's still a ways off.
Oh no! In the manga, yes, because it kicks all that shit off very early.
The anime decided not. Oh, God.
But the anime, not a whisper. The most you get of anything is that thing that you see in Clockwork at the beginning, where he thinks he's getting the Byakugan. That's the only thing.
That little tickle of it, and then they're like, "Nah, it's not. Behave.
Yeah,
you're
when you see the eye, and people don't believe him. Yeah, exactly. When people aren't believing him, and they're like, "No, you haven't got it."
It's a bit like My Hero, like I am the greatest hero
the
world has ever seen.
My Hero didn't show us him doing something. Didn't show us how awesome he actually looks in the end.
I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but it just sort of shows you. I could just, if it keeps, unless there's a big time skip in My Hero,
there's got to be one.
How is it gonna? Yeah, there's got to be one. How is it? They can't keep showing it at this pace till he gets to be the strongest.
I'd say we've just finished season 4 of My Hero, and we're still on their first year of school. He's
like 20% and at a push.
Yeah,
so
it was so far.
I mean, I like when they go on. I do when you get plenty of content, but I do agree that obviously they can keep going too much. I mean, I really do feel personally that Demon Slayer could have gone on longer.
Demon Slayer, definitely,
I am disappointed that it ended as early as it did. Boy, seriously, when I thought we were on a break, I thought it was on a break. You know what I mean? When I got to that final, that final chapter, and it was like the end. By the end of it, I literally got to the end of 205, and it is the end. That's it, done. The only other thing there is a one shot about the fire Hashira. That's it. Done. It's gone. It's over. It's finished.
I mean, it's a bit odd.
And we're talking last chapter.
The anime feels like it's condensed. I could imagine that the anime it might not be, just like almost compared to the manga, just summarized with how it felt at times, the way characters are introduced, like the spider people. Spoilers: the spider people in the woods.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, well, that could I know there was an explanation on it, but like it could have done more, I suppose. But then again, that's the sign of good writing, I suppose, that it doesn't feel like it's milked as much as it could have been.
The one thing I will say, obviously, again, for you listeners, don't worry, I'm not going to drop any Demon Slayer spoilers, like with me having finished it now, like neither for you two either. I'm not going to drop any spoilers. But the only thing I will say is there was a thing that happened like basically right at the end, which was a straight up make or break. Is this going to completely ruin this entire series? Like, deadly serious. There was genuinely something that I was just like, I am not going to appreciate this if it continues. That's all I'm going to say. But there was definitely.
Did he wake up and it was all
like,
a dream?
Oh, you better. No, thankfully not. Thankfully not that. But there was something that was, for me, was like that. You better sort your shit out.
Oh, you got me thinking. You're gonna make me read the flipping manga now, aren't you? Because I know it's not that long.
We'll get it done then because it's banging.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Because there's no reason not to. It's unbelievable.
And to be fair, as we've moved on to Demon Slayer, we seem to have moved away from topic quite a bit, and we're about an hour in. I think that might be about time to wrap this one up.
It's what we do best, really. But we did absolutely cover the premise of the Land of Waves. First big mish, the first for so many things, the introduction properly to the ninja world that they live in. The first power-up Naruto Kurama punch. Sharingan, you name it.
I suppose if there was a Naruto Kai, like there was Dragon Ball Z Kai, that would be the start of it. It just cuts out the not super relevant bits. Yeah, so if anybody's interested in Naruto, I mean, you should have already been well into it if you are, but if you haven't, then probably start here if you're not looking to invest wholly in it.
Yeah, if it's something that you just like, I want to see what it's got to offer, then go for that. And then if you're enjoying it and you really like, you're gelling with the anime, then go back and watch it, because by that point, it's already put a smile on your face and you'll be able to really tackle those early episodes head on.
Yeah, and it's so close to the start, it's not going to ruin too much, if anything.
Absolutely not. It's season one. It's season one, The Land of Waves. You're not, it's not a million miles. It's not seasons.
I would say, doesn't it start like episode 6, The Land of Waves?
It's stupidly
it's quite
early.
Early.
Yeah,
I was gonna say get past cat catching. And
that's the issue there, crying in the woods and whatnot.
Get past that. Although at the end of the day, it would mean you'd miss the bell test. But regardless,
get on that bell test. Get on that bell test.
We're getting started into a whole other portion of Naruto now, aren't we?
Okay, we're wrapping up.
We'll save it. We'll save it. Yeah, we'll save it. Well, I will start by saying, guys, thank you so much for listening.
I have been that guy.
I've been Clockwork Nerd.
And I have been PT64. And if you've enjoyed it, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already for more of these delicious, just about staying on topic,
just about
anime podcasts. And until next time, guys, take it easy.
See ya.